Greetings, beloved ones. Welcome to the latest Shakti Temple Talk. I'm very excited about today's topic. I'm calling it Living Tantra. And we are going to go into two of the foundational principles of Tantra and how we can bring these into our awareness of our greater lives and unfolding. How can we become living Tantra? So let's go into first what exactly is Tantra. Well, Tantra is it's like a spiritual science more than anything. It's very intelligently articulated system for the expansion of our consciousness and the liberation of our energy. So it's basically a system with very specific practices that is used to untie the knots we tie around most specifically our consciousness, but also our bodies. It's like all these systems are working together. So we start to untie the knots, realize the truth of who we are, come into a state of totality, of divine union, of essence, of revelation of our divine nature within this human experience rather than in negation of it. So that's Tantra in a very, very nutshell. It's very hard to put such a vast and incredible system and complex system into a little nutshell, but that was an attempt. So what are the main tools of Tantra? So in the West, we tend to get really confused about what Tantra is because of the translation that happened, I think probably through Osho. I'm not entirely sure how all this happened, but we started thinking that it's all about sex and sexuality and intimacy, and in a level, we could say that's true. I mean, it's very much about our energy. It's very much about liberating our energy. One of the places that I think we have the most tied up, wrapped around bondage, confusion, distortion is around our sexual energy. So great. Yeah, we can absolutely use Tantra for that. For intimacy, yes, it's about becoming intimate with the totality, with everything that is, realizing that I am that ultimately. Tantra it's a dualistic system, but it's heading towards non-duality. So it's always been strange to me that they refer to like an Advaita Vedanta, which is a non-dual system, and then Tantras, which they say is a dual system, but it's like ultimately Tantra's going to non-duality anyways. So that's our goal with Tantra, is to use duality, but to not get locked into duality, but to use what is really, because we're living in this dualistic, at least how we perceive it, reality, and we can use that as a science to yoke our wholeness. So the two main tools that we use to do that in Tantra are mantra and yantra. Mantra plus yantra equals Tantra, as one teacher would say. So what is mantra in essence? I'm not going to go super deep into these because it's really, for me, I want to talk about the essential nature, like the way we can really deeply connect, without having any real experience of Tantra, with mantra and yantra. So mantra is essentially sacred sound. Yantra is light. So it's believed in the tantric system that everything that exists is carried on sound and light. Like the first sound supposedly in creation was the sound of Om. And if you think of sound, it's kind of akin to time. So there's also time and space. Now, both light and sound travel, right? So on a level, both could be considered akin to time on a level, but with sound I really think of, there's a sound originating from somewhere and it goes out in this wave, so it's kind of akin to time, whereas light is something that like it fills the space, right? So light is space. So sound and light, waves and particles, vibration and energy create everything that we're experiencing in this very moment. You can look around the room, it's like light, and you can see it because of the light, and there's sound happening with my voice or whatever. It's like these are the two principles that are upholding creation: sound and light, mantra and yantra. And so we can really become intimate with these. And in Tantra, when we work a lot with deities specifically. Deities in this system are, the Western mind can't always grasp. We think that, they believe there's actually a Krishna or a Shiva or whatever. These are energies that exist within this wild hologram of creation. And they're very specific. So that's why there's so many different deities, because look at creation. It's super diverse. There's so many different energies and frequencies and things happening in any given moment. And so the deities are ascribed to these different energies. If it's like the aspect of transformation, like let's look at like composting or something. It's the act of something breaking down and coming back to essence. It's like that might be Kali. Like that's an act of Kali right there, right? The goddess of transformation. If we're looking at sustenance or protection, like the mother's impulse to protect her child, to nurture her child, to run to her child when her child is crying, that's Durga manifesting there. If it's that ability to rest in the supreme peace of just being, of what is, into that stillness and that equanimity. Okay, we're going to call that Shiva. So this is how the deities work, and how we connect with the deities is that they each have specific sound and light frequencies that are their, basically like it's like their light body and their sound body. So their yantra, each one has their own yantra, and we can meditate on the yantra, we can offer things to the yantra in worship. There's different ways we can visualize ourselves in the yantra, bring the yantra to life within us. That's the light body of the deity. So we're creating the light body of that particular frequency that we want to work with. With mantra, we're working with the sound body of the deity. So we're awakening it into our internal and external space through the sound. We're connecting with specific aspects, because even one deity is going to have many different aspects, so different mantras will connect with different aspects. So sound and light. I really love thinking of these. All of our day is spent in this dance between sound and light. We're just not always super conscious of it. One of the things that I love about the Indian system, the Tantric system, is that, and not just the Tantric, the Vedic, Hindu, whatever. So it goes so far beyond just the spiritual path. So it's even shown up in their arts. And I was thinking about this the other day. We did a big event at my home, and we had classical Indian musicians and classical Indian dancers. And I was thinking about how the music was like the sound body, it was like the mantra, and the dancers are like the light body or the yantra. And it's like, sound and light coming together. And then I started thinking even deeper to how consciousness was acting on these aspects. It's like with the musician, there's this consciousness that's acting on the instrument and playing the instrument. So then the sound is coming out. The consciousness is playing on the instrument, sound comes. The dancer is the opposite. The dancer is the receptive. So then the sound comes and the dancer receives, and then the dance comes from that, from receiving and then translating the sound. So in and of itself, we can kind of start to see the dance of Shiva and Shakti. So it's like, all of us have had, hopefully, an experience of dancing where it's like we feel that. It's like the music is moving us. We're in this response to that. Or maybe we've made music before. And anyway, there's so many ways that this can show up. And so it's about, living Tantra. How can we start to bring these principles of light and sound, of mantra and yantra into our everyday lives? How can we make our speech more beautiful and aligned with truth and essence, and take the time to sing or take the time to dance? I love one of these old proverbs that was like, I'm gonna butcher it, I'm sorry, but you know, that the medicine people used to ask, when did you stop singing, when did you stop dancing, because that's a sign of disconnection from source. And it's like when humans are really connected with source, it's like we sing, we dance, we have this living tantra, this living communion with the fabric of existence. And so the invitation in this talk and this exploration is just how we can bring more awareness to sound and to light, how we are embodiments of that. You know, you can see my physical body is like my light body, and then there's like sound. I can speak, I can sing, I can, you know, whatever. And so how do we bring more awareness into our light body, into our sound body, into how we interact with our environment and other beings through that? How do we listen to music when we understand that this is coming from this 0 point and moving out into the field to be experienced, to be heard? How do we relate with light when we realize that light also is doing that, moving from that 0 point and becoming brighter and brighter until all of creation can be illuminated? And it just brings about this this miracle, this revealed mystery that is life. It's so magical. It's so magical. This is the living tantra. It's like, this isn't the mundane. Like, whenever we start to think this is mundane, it's like there's something wrong. Not something wrong. We all go there. We all go there. But like, how do we pull our heads out of that mundane and look up and see where we are and recognize that we are in this living tantra, we are in this living spiritual science of awakening to the truth of who we are, which is not separate from anything else, but a part of, an expression of the sound and light of all these deities and of the elements and of Shiva and Shakti and ultimately non-duality. So thanks for tuning in today. That was a fun little blast. There's so much more that could be unpacked with that, but I just wanted to give that little drop to send you off with. And stay tuned. There will be more offerings in this realm. Obviously, I do these free little drop-ins here, but I also have online courses you can check out online. I work with private clients. You can connect with me there. I'll put the links in the description, so you can connect with me there. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Agree, disagree, like this, don't like, whatever. Attraction, aversion, drop it all here. We're rocking the realm of duality for now, so let's just go for it. All right, my loves. Thanks for tuning in. Ciao.